We often make vows, take vows, make vows, and we often make promises that we often say things that we really don't mean. If we really took our time and studied the Bible and really looked in depth into what it's saying to us, when you go to Genesis 30, Genesis 30 has a vow guideline that the Lord has given Israel for them to, for Moses to give to them, to understand when you take these vows and make these oaths that they are bound words that can't be broken. We often have our politicians, ourselves, we often say things and we often fall on our knees and say, God, if you do this, I'll do this. And we'll say, God, if you help me through this one, I'll never go back to this one. We make these promises that we in our hearts know that we're not going to keep. And that's the one thing that I think we keep forgetting is that God searches our heart. That's the most important thing that I think we keep forgetting, that God knows a man's heart. He knows exactly what we going to do before we even open our mouths and say we're going to do it. He knows exactly how we're going to react and how we're going to respond to situations. You know, you often run into us and we get angry and we get mad and we say, I never had an opportunity. I never had a chance. You had plenty of opportunities. You never took the chance. We often say, hey, when is this thing going to change? And I truly believe in my heart, God is looking at us. When are you going to change? They say, hey, the environment where I live and where I'm at, the people and the things that the situation has got me cornered and it's got me put down. And you have to say to yourself, the man that was in the tomb, cutting himself day in and day out, he didn't go looking for Jesus. Jesus came to him where he was and where he's at. The same thing for us. God is where we're at. We often think that we have to get out of where we're at in order to meet God. No, God meets you where you at. He meets you in that place, in that situation. He changed you where you're at. But in order for us to trust the Lord, you have to spend time with him. You have to know him. You have to be in tune with him. In order to make a promise or make a vow to somebody, you have to know that person. It's like a baby. You ever seen a baby in a mother's arm? You ever seen a baby in a mother's arm and you ever seen a stranger walk up to that mother and say, "Oh, that baby is so pretty. Oh, it's so nice. Come here, baby. Come here, baby." And try to get that baby out of that mother's arm, and that baby looks at that stranger and she tucks her head back in her mother's arm and or in the bosom and she won't move out of that mother's arm because she don't know that person. And then have you ever seen that baby in a mother's arm and she recognized the person that's reaching for her and he said, "Come here, baby," and that baby just leaps out of her mother's arm right into that person's arm and get comfortable and laugh. And that is the way we are with God sometimes. God is a stranger to some of us, and we can't even leave our comfort zone. We can't even get out of the arms or out of the situation because we don't know God. And then some of us spends time with him and knows him when he shows up, or knows him when he taps us on the shoulder, knows him when he say, hey, here's a chance for you. Here's an opportunity for you. Here's a thing that I need you to do. And we leap out of our comfort zone because we know God. So that's when we're making vows to our husbands, our wives, and we're making vows to our parents, and when we're making vows to God, these vows are serious. But you can't make these vows if you're not spending time and knowing somebody, because now you're making an inward vow. It's no good. It ain't got no backbone to it. It ain't got no strength to it. It has nothing to stand on.